I've been reading the latest wave of comments from my No Kings video, and there's a pattern underneath all the anger. Some people are furious about what happened under Biden. The lockdowns, the censorship, the double standards. And others ask why protesters are mad about Trump when Democratic cities won't even prosecute crime. And some say calling Trump a king is ridiculous, that he's just doing what he was elected to do. And others feel like the whole system, the media, the courts, the platforms, have been rigged from the start. But if you step back for a moment, you can see the common thread. This isn't just about Trump, and it's not just about Biden. It's about whether power is still accountable, or only when it's convenient. And that is a fair question. Because when people see prosecutors drop charges, or city councils pull back enforcement while their neighborhoods get worse, it feels like something's broken. When they see political opponents punished, but their own side protected, it feels rigged. And when protests sound like they're only mad at one team, it feels like no one's actually defending principle, just scoring points. But that's exactly why we need to talk about how power works. Not just when we like it, but when we don't. The Constitution doesn't give the president a blank check to clean up America. And that's not weakness or wokeness. That's federalism. That's the system we designed on purpose. By law, the military doesn't police civilians. The Posse Comitatus Act bars the Army and Air Force, and by policy, most of the Navy and Marines, from acting as domestic law enforcement unless Congress says otherwise. The Insurrection Act is the main exception, and it has clear limits. The president can act if a state asks for help, if federal law can't be enforced by ordinary means, or if constitutional rights are being denied. And even then, it's supposed to be a last resort. And federal agents, like those protecting courthouses in Portland, they operate under different legal authority. They can defend federal property and investigate related crimes, but that's not the same as deploying troops. Now, about those No Kings protests. Some folks said it was dramatic, that Trump followed the law and a real king wouldn't have faced a shutdown or opposition at all. But calling someone a king isn't about whether you like their policies. It's about how power is used, whether it flows through the checks and balances that define a republic, or concentrates in ways that are hard to stop once they're set in motion. And we have been here before. In 1798, Congress passed the Sedition Act, making it a crime to publish false, scandalous, and malicious writing against the government or the president. It was used to jail critics, and it didn't last long. In 1919, the Palmer raids swept up thousands, often without warrants, with mass detentions and deportations that ignored due process. And in the 1960s, the FBI's COINTELPRO program targeted civil rights and anti-war leaders, including Dr. King, treating them as security threats. The Church Committee later revealed the extent of that abuse. Every time the justification was safety, and every time it went too far. That's what No Kings means. Not no law, not no order, just no unchecked power, no matter who holds it. If you believe Trump was mistreated by the system, let's talk about that. But if you also believe that gives him the right to bend the rules in his favor now, then ask yourself what happens when the next president does the same. It's true that we don't need kings. It's also true that we desperately need citizens. And citizenship means defending the limits of power even when your side is in charge, because one day it won't be. So here's the question. If your guy could do anything he wanted, would you still call it a republic? Because that answer says more about the future of this country than any election ever could.